We are here with Reverend Peyton's Big Damn Band at Toyota Pavilion at Montage for Van's Warped Tour, who just played a great set, not too far away from where we're sitting. Tell us about your guitar. That's a pretty interesting instrument.
Well, basically what I'm playing up on stage is, I'm playing two National Trojans. One's a 34 and the other's a 1935. And then I also am playing a flat-top Gibson 29 L2s.
And did you have to do much to them to do what you do to them?
Well, I mean, a little bit. I've got a really good guitar luthier who's able to kind of set things up. I'm hard on them, so they get worked over. They get played.
Your instrument is rather interesting too. Tell us a bit about how you developed that and how you use it in the band.
It's a 2010 washboard. So, I don't know. The Rev and I listen to a lot of old music, and I like some old jug band music and old blues, old washboard players from the 20s and 30s. And so I said, man, it'd be fun to play a washboard sometime. And I had played around on other percussion instruments. And the next day, the Rev brought me one home from an antique store, so we started playing it on our front porch. And they're easy to come by in our town, in our little town. So you buy them at the hardware store in town.
The not using a bass player thing, I wouldn't really notice it if I wasn't watching. I guess that's by design. But did you ever try working with a bass player and just didn't like it, or what's the idea there?
Well, I mean, I play the old style finger style guitar where you play the bass with your thumb and the lead with your fingers at the same time. So, really a lot of things in there, a lot of additional things like bass, whatever, just steps on what I do. You know what I mean? It's
bass players are generally treble, so we thought it'd be easier.
Yeah, and they're
to not
expensive.
Have them. The Rev pays himself twice now because he's the bass player.
Yeah. I feel like I deserve it.
Right. Sure. You talked about how you developed your guitar. I wanted to ask about how you developed your playing style, and I read about there was a problem you had physically, and how that manifest. Oh, that's quite a scar. Yeah.
And then right there. Well, when I was 19, I woke up one day and couldn't play anymore, and it was just I thought it was the worst thing that ever happened to me. And I almost 2 years, a year and a half, something like that. I couldn't play, and I went to all these doctors. They said, "Hey, find something else to do." Well, by the time I was 13, I was giving guitar lessons. I'd been playing guitar forever, and then not being able to do it was heartbreaking. But the thing is, when I finally was able to have surgery and get him back, and I found someone that could help me, I'd lived so much life, and I don't know there was a lot of reasons, but it ended up being the best thing. It was like a miracle, and I could play the way I always wanted to play. And a week after my surgery, I met Breezy.
Personally, I think that's what set him over the edge.
But either way, I'll never take it for granted again. I can tell you that much.
Your lyrics are, all over the map. They seem very authentic. They seem like coming from life experience, which is a little bit scary, because I would think if you lived that kind of life, you probably wouldn't be alive to write those lyrics. But where are they coming from? Is it people you know, characters you've grown up with?
All the songs I write are true. They're either my family, my friends, me, people I knew growing up, things I like and things I don't like, and everything in between. I've never been someone that just makes up a story out of thin air. Some songwriters, they do, and they're great at it. And they, to me, it's the difference between a fiction novel and a nonfiction novel. I write nonfiction.
On the stage today, you remarked pretty enthusiastically about this area. When you woke up today, it reminded you of home and whatnot. To expand on that a little bit, and what really caught your eye?
Well, these hills, this morning we got up out of here, you look up and there's all this mist on these hills, and man, it just looked trees, real trees.
A lot of times Warped Tour's just in a flat parking lot and
field.
And people who live, we live in southern Indiana, but people who live on the West Coast, they say, well, I just couldn't live in a place without mountains or whatever. I couldn't live in a place without hills and trees,
Oh yeah, I love these trees and these hills. It looks just like Brown County, Indiana, where we live down southern Indiana. I love it, and to me, this was the prettiest place we played thus far.
With your musical style being so over the map, you could fit into almost any kind of festival. I would assume blues festivals and rock Warped Tour, which you're on. If there was a band out there now that you could go on tour with, who would it be?
We've been lucky enough to go on tour with some of our favorite bands: Flogging Molly, the Avett Brothers, J.J. Gray and Mofro. The one band I'd really like to go on tour with is Social Distortion. I think it'd be a great show to go out with them. I'd like to play with John Fogerty sometime too, just because I love CCR
and John Mellencamp in Indiana.
Yeah, just because the Indiana connection, the Southern Indiana connection, we'd like to do that too sometime. We think that'd be fun.
Great.
At least maybe just one show in Southern Indiana. Just one show. That's all I ask.
That's all we're asking.
It's
John,
not asking
give
too
us a
much,
break.
Mr. Mellencamp.